Well, in having helped Renegade Mac and Cheese answer a question about the making of a Warforged and how a Warforged could possibly be a druid, getting a recommendation from Donnie Sorrow to watch ReZero, so that I can have my emotions toyed with as a, possibly before being shredded, only to be kind of lumped back together and allow me to heal over once more. Let's finish out this week's workshop, shall we? This is it, the culmination of all the characters and everything that we've done. And it's going to start here. Plotting a Humblewood adventure. Now you see where I have things stratified into 4 different levels. Pardon. That's because the skill, well, not the skills, but the features, the spells, and the power level of things in 5th edition D&D is scaled as follows. Boop, 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 over there. Levels 1 through 4, you're the local heroes. And again, your class features and your spells are going to be, these are the tips and tricks that are kind of, you're going to get one over on the locals. Now, from 5 to 10, you are heroes of the realm. This is where you step up and the kingdom recognizes you in a way because of your actions. Now, they recognize you after the fact. However, people start noticing you. You get more famous or more infamous. And again, your world is larger. You're going to have more transportation options. You're going to have more spell options, more needs that need to be filled as well. Now, 11 through 16, you are masters of the realm. The kingdom doesn't recognize you after you've slogged through the corpses and mud and blood. The kingdom comes to you saying, we need your help. Would you please help us? And you tell the king, off your knees, come on, it's fine. And now you are stepping up and you are the vanguard of the nation, the continent, even Zawarudo, in a sense. Then again, the world will thank you after you've slogged through the mud and corpses and blood. Until you hit level 17. Because then the world will come to you on its knees saying, please, please help us. And you say, they're there, entire world. We're epic level characters now. Yes, epic level is 17 through 20. You get 4 epic levels. It's not a continuing thing like in 3rd Ed or the next 10 levels like you find in 4th edition. So you can see the gives and the takes, the scale of things, of the threats of where you're going. And if you're going to sit down and design an adventure, then it's important for you to think, well, do I want to concentrate on one tier in particular and hit it hard? Or am I in this for the long haul? Do I want a 1 to 20? Could take a year and a half, 2 years, depending. I mean, depending on how quickly you play or whatnot. Some people play a campaign where every time you sit down, you earn a level, right? You're sort of fast forwarding. You're reenacting the major points, and then you're narrating the in between. And so 20 sessions, that's 5 months. So every 5 months, or we'll be generous, say 6 months, because sometimes people don't show up. I know it's weird in D&D. People don't show up to play every week on time. That's dumb. But if you did that as a vignette style, you could pound out a 1 to 20 game in less than 6 months if you play on a weekly basis. You could do what I'm doing. I do milestones, and we've been playing for a little over a year now, and we've only hit level 10. Now, I don't know. I have no idea if I'm going to 20 with the Tuesday game. I thought the Tuesday game was going to last maybe 6 months. Something like that. Might end somewhere like, You know, the sweet spot is like 5 to 10. You know, and just getting the juicy bits with 11 here. And the reason why this is such a big range is because most people only ever play 10 levels. This was meta research done by Wizards of the Coast when they're developing D&D 5th edition. Most people do not play a 1 to 20 game. They don't play year and a half, 2-year long campaigns together. It's usually start out low and you end around, 10, 11, 12, something like that. So you get enough cool stuff up here. You get that, but you don't have to invest in the ultra high end, because that also leaves like all the stuff like 15 or 14 and up. If your end game is 12, like, and you're the peak of humanity, you still have a lot of fun villains that you can pound on, or that would be super like mechanical threats, let alone existential threats in the concept of the game. Hi, you want to come up and see people? You gonna come up? I might have a cat up here soon. Absolutely, Donnie. I've been running my own setting for 13 years now. A little longer in concept, but I've been running my world for 13 years. And the results of one campaign affect the world in the next, because the players have to live in the world they leave behind. It hasn't happened this way per se, but let's say they just drop a bunch of nukes and absolutely just nuke the final boss and irradiate everything around it. Sure, congratulations, you killed the big bad evil guy and half the world is now uninhabitable, and you've destroyed millions of lives. This is the world you have to live in when we advance time and you're called to action once more. And so through a 13 years of action and consequence, the world has really come a long way and has told a compelling tale. I'm biased because it's my world, but whatever. Crawdaddies, it's usually due to the DM. They usually make a regional threat and then evolve it into a kingdom-wide threat. And after that's too big for the original idea. Yeah, so there's always that margin. There's always that next step. Just like there's the phrase, there's always a bigger fish. There's always a bigger crawdad. And so our question would be, do we want to hit a sweet spot? Do we want this? Do we want to go for the long, slow burn? The Humblewood campaign here, in the supplement itself, takes you from level 1 to 5. From level 1 to 5. Now, this has all kinds of pictures, and it has maps and other stuff in here. But even a 1 to 5 adventure, I don't want to show too much here in case you all play through it, so I don't want to reveal anything. Because I would also, if you get it and you want to run the Humblewood adventure, run it. But if we take a look, well, it's probably more in the contents. Here we go. Page 84 until 174. So we have 90 pages of content to get through from level 1 to 5. Again, granted, that's a bunch of maps and sort of like inbuilt stat blocks and the like. But you can do a ton with these with a low-level adventure, and it'll still feel grand and epic. Like, whoever the big bad evil guy is at the end of this is going to be a big bad evil guy. He's going to be threatening. You don't have to have a CR30 monster to threaten a party or to feel the pressure or things along those lines. You have a level 5 party, a CR12 creature is definitely going to be almost endgame material. I'm in the middle of making my setting. It started as designing an adventure, then I generated a map. Next thing I know, I'm building a world of races and kingdoms. Yes. Good. Good. That's exactly how it starts, Donnie. Welcome. I like to do career jumps, so level 1 to 10 are you whacking the big guy, then levels 11 through 20 are all about dealing with the crazy stuff that happens in the vacuum. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And that's something that maybe not a lot of people think about, because there is always that bigger crawdaddy, right? There's a power vacuum. And if you don't think that the big bad evil guy didn't have an ambitious underling or a lieutenant, we were even just talking about that in the development of things, an ambitious lieutenant who's probably even more cruel than the original warlord who had to temper him or herself because of the political ramifications. You know, your party's like, yeah, we defeated the evil king, yay! And then the vizier steps up, who was really the big bad evil guy the whole time, was playing the king, sort of like a Wormwood, with the King of Rohan thing going on. And then they're like, what did we do? We replaced an evil with an absolute, an infinite pit of awfulness and filth. We did that, and we did it by saving the day. You're absolutely right, though, Crawdaddy's downtown. So I think for what we have, the characters, as we were developing them, really seem to get along. When not that they're not going to continue to get along, but, even invoking what Crawdaddy said, we can almost do the first part of something, leave it off at a cliffhanger. Because we were talking about the lieutenant waiting in the wings and that kind of a thing. And so for tonight, I think we can focus, well, I don't know, we're doing an outline. I want to put a lot of thought into these levels tonight. And we'll see if I just leave these blank or we throw in a couple ideas like, well, explore this and explore this. Now, one way you can go about this is lay out your milestones. I do not prefer using experience points. Others of you might. It's absolutely fine. If you handle the math and you do it all, experience points call out to certain people and it resonates with them. It's a very tried and true fashion. It's a reward. It's like a constant drip feed reward as well for participation. For doing an outline for an adventure, and also in my personal running of things, I like milestones. So in this case, we would have level 1 to 2, level 2 to 3, level 3 to 4, and level 4 to 5. It's amazing how just a few simple notes can build something. Absolutely. Donnie, you are correct, and thank you. Look, unprompted for me, I don't want people to think I somehow put you up to this. Unprompted for me, you are absolutely correct. And this is independent third-party verification that I am not just speaking out of my nether regions. And that any of you out there, if you just start with a notepad and a pencil, make a drawing. Look, you think you can't make an entire adventure off of this? Right here. I'm going to zoom in on this. Forget anything else on the page. Can you make an entire adventure off this? This is an owl wearing armor and a weapon interacting with some kind of a slime. Who's the owl? What does the owl do? Where did the owl get the armor? Who made it? Whose feather is in that cap? Is that his own? Is that the feather of his lover or her lover? As a good luck charm to not, so that you can come back? Why would the owl want to come back? Is there a family at home? A bunch of little owlings? Little owl chicks? What about the sword? Is it a sword or a dagger? Have they invented swords yet? On the back, is that a backpack? It looks like maybe it's a backpack, or it could be a cape. What would an owl do wearing a cape? Does it have an insignia on it? If it's a backpack, what's it filled with? What do owls eat? And so if they eat what you think they eat, where are they getting it? Farmers? Where do the farmers grow their crops? Where do the armorers get their metal? And the weaponsmiths for that? Why, if we've invented armor, haven't we invented owl boots? Ooh. Did I get you with that one? Maybe this owl asked that question too, and ultimately along the adventure wants to invent boots for owls. Now that slime, is that a natural occurrence? Are there natural slimes? Is it an aberration? Was it created by a mad scientist or wizard? Well, where does magic come from? Where did the chemicals come from that made a sentient slime? Is it truly sentient, or is it just more like a pet and it follows you around if you feed it? And if that's the case, where did it come from? A cave? Where's the cave? What lives in the cave? Is that the same cave where the miners are getting their metal? Is that why we don't have boots? Because there's a lack of metal? Because the cave is now filled with slimes? Because of a mad wizard's experiment gone wrong? We just created an entire plot line by looking at an owl that is looking at a slime that is looking at an owl. Starts with a drop. It spreads from there. And Coffee Cat has returned. Welcome back, Coffee. I always love to see their face when they've killed the big guy and you're level 11, and then they start hearing rumors of barbarians on the north shores, people attacking to the south, local lords staking their own kingdoms in this place they just brought peace to. Now that they have to figure out how to split this up, and they still save the day, but they're not so tough when they got to go to 6 different locations at one time because they didn't build the structure. Yeah, right? Donnie says, I use Microsoft OneNote, make a bunch of bullet points as different pages, then build off each one. Eventually, it's a whole world. And also, for all of you that have the cat butt emote, this is an excellent opportunity to use it. You're getting the model right here. It doesn't get any more authentic than this, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Thank you. And so, as Donnie said, you can use OneNote. There's other authoring programs that you can use if any of you do any sort of like novel writing, or even if you do stuff like if you do any sort of like magazine design or something, and you want to link pages together and things with style and not just text. There's all kinds of tools that you can use. And so for this, we're just gonna start making some. Let's put some thoughts out there. Because that's all this really is. This adventure is a series of ideas that hopefully go in the correct order, but given the proclivities of player characters, might not. And so to make a steadfast plan can be very disastrous as a dungeon master. Remember, a plan is a list of things that can go wrong. And if you're relying on your players to do everything by the book, you are going to be in a scramble, my friend. There's not a lot of real estate here, bud. I appreciate it, but, yeah. I know! My goodness, Coffee Cat. It's like you guys hate me and you are undermining my perfect creation. This is my story. My story. Nya, nya, nya. Oh, sure, you say it like it's just easy to do. Yeah, there's not a lot of room here, bud. Also, Crawdaddy's found the brain slug. Yep, driven by the characters. And so that's what I want to work on here. In our distillation of the party, there are some themes that come up among the party members, and these are things that we can really use to spice up our encounters, that we can use to create a skill challenge, that overall are going to guide the general direction of the story forward, such as what forward exists. I mean, you know, if you're turning, you're still moving forward. You're just always moving forward in a different direction. Shukan, welcome back. Question: when I make a villain that runs the kingdom, I give him layer actions whenever they're in the kingdom. You think that's a little rough? Oh, it's the executive executing orders, that is bearing influence. I think that's fine. If now that said, if you think it would be rough, in fact, let's even take it away from whatever, like an evil elven king or something like that. Let's go to a white dragon. A white dragon has lair actions, but there's also a regional effect, and this could be also something for you to consider, Crawdaddies, is a regional effect. That, you could maybe tell you're approaching a white dragon lair because the weather changes. There's odd things that are stirring. Maybe people tell tales, or they have nightmares, or things are happening that are definitely out of the ordinary and could be dangerous, but they might also be perceivable. And then, of course, if you're going to go fight the white dragon in its own lair, you got to be prepared for a rough fight. Just like, I mean, if you want to take the king down, and you're going to do it in the middle of the castle where the king is absolutely protected and such, it's going to be tough. If the party takes time to research the position of the guards, merchants that sell products, that get inside the castle walls, or if you're describing them entering the kingdom and they see, wow, that forest to the south looks like it's really starting to rot. What's going on with that place? Then they can start asking questions from the locals. They can start doing some research or bracing themselves for something that can come. So I don't think things like lair actions for a ruler, or even regional effect actions, are unheard of. Especially because if you make them interactable, then it will draw the characters further into the story, instead of being a point of contention or complaint. My first campaign in this world was kind of player requested. They want to start in a defunct adventurers guild and build up. My only notes are random quests that would be brought to a no-name guild. Players stick their noses into something bigger than they thought. There's my first 5 levels. That's your first 5 levels. Exactly. Made notes of cool stuff that could happen. You put in hooks to see where the players would go. While in the background, I make many villains and their motivations and see, machinations that span lifetimes. You're doing it absolutely right, Donnie. Hark, I just realized I almost ended a war between elves and orcs in my level 11 to 13 character campaign with my half-elf paladin if I hadn't failed to roll high enough to behead their leader after an honor duel, which would have been interesting because I didn't learn we left there that my character, this is a big sentence, Hark, is part of the royal line if the main royal elven family dies out. I really wish I knew how the game would have gone if that happened. Can you talk to the DM about what the plans were? Oh, Sheeps, hey, welcome. Yeah, we're still here. We're going to be doing some plotting for a plot, and then we're going to stop. I hope you feel better, oh Sheeps. But yeah, let's get into it here. So levels 1 through 4. And we're going to break this up by milestone. What is, if you're doing this, what is going to be accomplished that would see the advancement? What's going on? Sorry, everyone. That would see the advancement of the characters mentally, physically, socially, economically. You feel pretty okay? Well, that's a lot more solid. Phydrogen, thank you very much for the follow and for sticking around. You were here from the beginning. If this is your first time here and you stuck through the workshop, awesome. I'm really happy that we have been entertaining, compelling, or somewhere in between. Oh, I'm sorry. Before we get to the milestones, what do we want to explore? So Destro has some thematic elements or some moral cues about proving oneself, strength and resolve, and the acceptance of one's doubts. Ome, the journey of life and even the acceptance of its end. Even the humblest humble folk can be humbled herself and realize that perhaps all her life she wasn't any more special than others because she relied on those same others for recognition when it should have come from within. I have been awesome. Thank you. I'm very glad. And you know what? It's a pleasure to meet you, and I hope that you do return when you have the opportunity. I do not broadcast Sunday nights and Monday nights, but we'll come back on Tuesday for roleplay, which we give a recap of things, and you can just hop right in if you wish. And then Wednesday is a miniature raffle where I will be giving away boxes of minis. And then that week, we're going to explore the new Unearthed Arcana, make a couple characters, and go from there. That's right, Tuesday hype. What was your dream about, oh Sheeps? This is a PG-13 stream, by the way. Rena, honesty, friendships, and settling differences between enemies. Overcoming guilt. The acceptance of one's doubts, overcoming guilt. We have two very guilty feeling people here. Or at least very self-unsure. Now, she's extra sure. She actually needs to be humbled. And Reapador, the tug of war between good and evil, as well as the selling and perhaps redemption of oneself. Also understand that being on a high horse doesn't give others a good view of you. In personal satisfaction, right? Because he's never content with the things that he has. He's always looking for bigger, for better, for more. Just always restless. And really, because of the personality, Ome and Reapador start out as strong, determined characters that are going to end up needing to have that edge worn down. Meanwhile, we have Destro and Rena that are two characters that are going to start off with a weaker personality, right? They have guilt. They have they're not sure of themselves, who they are, the choices they've made in life, even. And so we're gonna have this like crossover at some point where this is gonna happen. Some kind of dream about being in an abandoned castle or mine, and I don't remember why I was in there. Hark says, I know my character would have become king of the orcs. That's it, really? All he had told me as basic for if I had succeeded after that, not much else. Because of the bad roll, though, my character earned respect from the orc leader. Oh. There's a video. Maybe I'll play it when we're done here. Don't worry about that. There is a video. I'll play it for when we're finished. So Destro needs to prove himself, and also Destro has a very strong link to Rena with the backstory that we were able to extrapolate from their character sheets. And ultimately, they're all pulled together with Ome, because Ome is sort of the de facto leader. Reapador has come along to like transport and is selling leather goods along the way from this, because people want to see the living saint and so forth. And then they're going to come across Rena and Destro and pick them up in the party. And so this could be, if you even wanted to, by the way, you can even do this. You can have a goal for session 0. Why are you worried now, oh sheeps? So session 0, beyond the, sit down and talk about your characters. Oh, because of the video? No, don't worry. You will enjoy it, I'm sure. So we have a session 0, and you could say, all right, so the goal from session 0 is to talk about our characters, maybe in a little meta sense, but we can set down some basic role play and say, all right, so we have our 2 passive characters, and so here we have Destro and Rena narrate meeting and traveling together over time. Also, occasionally seeing the NPC until they encounter Ome, Reapador, and the others that were following along. So now what's the goal? We're now level 1 officially. How do we get to level 2? You can list a fight. You can list a social interaction. You can just list, you know what? They're going to be level 2 anyway after the first session, because maybe you want them to grow up real quick to level 3. But level 1, you can simply say, the party members meet up after Destro and Rena put down an altercation that threatened to overcome Ome and Reapador. They flee the site, and it's just the 4 of them. Just the 4 of them. They could level up if they tried, just the 4 of them. You, and I. Hark says, but that campaign is on hiatus at the moment, so you may talk a bit about it again with him, because the hiatus was caused due to everyone having different vacation plans for the summer. Ah, so the gang's going to get back together. Very good, Hark. There is bonding on the road that would include an encounter with a fiery foe. And by the way, there are enemies. There are custom Humblewood monsters that are in the supplement. Whoops. That wasn't the right thing. See, there's a little owl fighting an ash snake. Right, this great calamity, this big forest fire brought a lot of fiery enemies here. There's an aspect of fire. And so if you want to specifically say, aspect of fire encounter, you can. Birdfolk skeletons. Look at this. A cobble fright. How about that thing, huh? A cobble fright. I usually do the first 3 to 5 levels fast and slow it down. 5e characters don't really get their flavors till then, and I warn my PCs ahead of time. Yep, yeah, Donnie. Ember Bat. Oh, that actually looks really cute. Curious and gentle creatures, these tiny bats have ashen fur and noses which sport a small candle-sized flame. A forest prowler. A lesser demon. How about a mountain lion? Caustic slime. There's that little slime that the owl keeps poking at. Sticky slime. How about a wake worm? So you can tie in specific monsters if you want. But we can just say an encounter with a fiery foe. Now, you can also add, in parentheses or even just blatantly say, because this is our reference sheet. This is going to plant the seeds of civil strife as well as a growing fiery threat that is much more physical. Narrate traveling together over time. They end up in... It was called Marshview. They end up in Marshview, which is presented as a hoity-toity bird perch city of great faith. Hence why the wind touched is welcomed when otherwise humble folk aren't. And so then that and the 1 to 2, now we come over to the wind touch that are already here and have presumably been ingratiating themselves. But we're telling the story to these two in session 0. That's priming, and so we're offering hints. The hints can be acted on in this milestone, and then that's going to carry through back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You're doing exactly what I do. I look for the pictures till I'm inspired, then build off the pictures. You remember them working on this? It never dawned on me that this was the Humblewood everyone was talking about for a while. Oh, were they actually streaming art streams and stuff? Ah, okay. Well, that's cool. So 2 to 3. This is a... so they escape. Bonding in the road. So that's when they talk about the parents and whatnot. 2 to 3. Where could we take this? They come across... They are attacked by bandits that are from the east side of Marshview. However, they appear ragged and bear brands, but there's no information offered, and they flee if confronted too harshly. This indicates Something odd is going on, even with the bandits. The group, let's see. So let's have the group, if they're in Marshview, and they're heading north, maybe through the mock fields. They're trying to reach, they're probably trying to reach either Winnowing Reach or Meadoween. Let's take a quick look at the locations. Or is that Meadow Fen? Oh, yeah, it's Meadow Fen, not Meadoween. Although Meadoween sounds pretty cool. Peaceful village located between mock fields, glade of spruce crops to the north. Humble village, small number of residents. Most are farmers. Hey, Neo Realms, thank you very much for the host. So, Quiet Village, or that's Meadowfen, or Winnowing Reach. Let's take a quick look at Winnowing Reach. Alderheart, Ashbarrow, Bracken Mill, Scorched Grove, Winnowing Reach. Relatively new development in the started modest outpost. Last stop for researchers and slime wranglers bound for the mock fields. When folk began disappearing in the swamp, it was decreed that a more permanent settlement started to hold a small contingent of perch guard. And there's a slime industry here, too. All right, so they're going to go to Winnowing Reach. Since this is a new settlement, this is where the ground-based wind-touched maybe has made her her sanctuary. Information offered. If they flee, this indicates something's odd going on, even with the bandits in the mock field. They reach the new city of Winnowing Reach, where Ome has her own sanctuary, and Reapador has his base of leathery wares and Tanner's Guild. So now to get from level 3 to level 4... discover more background info on the bands of bandits in the marsh and slime activities. But have to put down another odd fire creature, insurgents. Despite being further away, the creatures all seem to bear a similarity to the ones further south. And Reapador recognizes that they carry the same symbol he does, which he has to hide. Or be blamed. Even when he's not invoking them as a warlock. Someone is invoking him, and he can talk about it. He just has to be careful how he talks about it so he doesn't get caught. So now we're having some interaction. We're having a little combat. We're also having some plot building. So now we've had 3 levels. So we're level, so that was 1 to 2. So this is, we're playing as level 1, we're playing as level 2, we're playing as level 3. And now to hit this, mark, before we get this nice stretch where we're gonna come back and confront things. Here we have, Ome gets a vision that she must travel abroad one last time before the wind leaves her lungs for good. Remember, she's old. There is something in the wood that only she can find, but must lead others who also seek a better world. As her followers had proven themselves to be selfish and violent in the face of the religious tension with the bird folk, she elects to take these young folk with her. On the road, they are accosted by mock bandits. And only mock bandits in fairly good shape. However, one also bears a strange brand. The brand, we might even say, looks similar to a summoning sigil on the fire creatures. Remember, the villain has this infernal pact and could very well be summoning these things to help clear people out, especially because he does want to conquer this area and take it over for the bird folk. A bunch of artists I followed. It's coming together now. The connections have been made in my brain. I love me some plot building as I rub my little hooves together. By the way, I saw the kobold. I saw the kobold you made for Shukan during the last Breako Sheeps. Was that like a wave goodbye? Is that like a signal or like a hand gesture in some way, or what was the? It was like the two fingers in the middle put together. Yeah, the drawing for Shukan, the commission. So this is going to be 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, and then bada boom, we're going to hit that big fat 10 here. Of course, this is the final confrontation with Destro's possessed father. BBEG fight in 2 parts that will either leave his father alive and exorcised or slain. In either case, the fiend patron appears for the last throwdown in this part of the wood. So that said, we're looking ahead. We see how this is ending before that the big momentum shift Kind of like what Crawdaddy's Downtown was talking about. But I'm only worried about making the 10 levels here. So here, going out and about, we now perhaps have them meet in a neutral space. So if they're leaving Winnowing Reach and they have to go, perhaps Alderheart, which is like the capital here. Or they need to research something over at the Avium. And they'll have to pass through Alderheart. So, travel to the Avium through Alderheart. This can be done with a skill challenge to get there. And social interactions as they are in the big city. Regardless of outcome, the group is met by... Who is our NPC again? Zevrek Ekoff. Hey, Blargle. Cool map! You're fine. Don't worry about it, Blargle. It's good to see you. Zevrek Ekoff. He tells them of this new trend about bandits being branded. But that has to wait as the party continues and Zevrek has other things to do as well. They also encounter Destro's father and see him meeting with religious officials, looking different somehow since the last time Ome, I guess O slash Ari here, Ore, caught a glimpse in Marshview. So to that end here, they see Destro's father, who to Destro looks a little different. But hey, it's been a while. So maybe things have changed. See, you see how we're layering in plot points and we're showing that things are happening in the world around them? Religious officials looking different somehow since last time. Color change. Darker? Singed? Was he in a fight with the fiery fiends that have been popping up? Six to seven. Now they leave. So this is taking place. Travel through Alderheart, where they stop for a time. Master Mage 22. Thank you very much. Hello. Good morning to you. Sorry, I didn't see you. I'm in the zone in our workshop as we're creating this Humblewood adventure off all the prompts that we've developed in our past workshops this week. But yeah, welcome. Have a seat. If you have questions or you just want to be entertained, you sit down. Sheeps apparently is welcoming everyone. If you need a cup of water, she might be willing to get one for you. You just got to ask real nicely. Being in the zone is one of the, oh, it is, Master Mage. But at the same time, I have hostly duties, and so it is proper and pay. Exactly. You got to pay O'Sheeps for that. That water ain't free. Travel east to the university. And along the way, encounter the lieutenant from Rena's gang conspiring with another bandit gang from the fortress. There's a big fight that also pits Zevrik against the party and having to play to each. It seems there's been a lot of poaching going on, which also has re-distressed, and must report that to the Leather Workers Guild. At the Avium, they do research and find some material on infernal summoning. Now, there's some individual spotlighting that we can do here, but I'm trying to present the general group gist. I mean, if we had hours and hours more tonight, I would absolutely sit down and we could detail this character gets a spotlight here, this person talks to this other person, we would introduce new NPCs. But overall, I want to tell a winding story as we travel across the map. Because now that we've reached the Avium, like, we've indicated stuff is going on with these bandits here. We're probably not going to worry about Brackenmill, but now it's time to go south as things are gonna intervene, or are going to come to a head back in Marshview, where it all began. Ooh, it's poetic. Oh, there we go, Sheeps. Master Mage is giving you a silver piece. It's almost 4 a.m. You got to go to sleep. What do I get dragged into my family? Yeah, all right, Hark, thank you for hanging out with us. So O'Sheeps is kind of taking on the role here of our patron or our matron here at the tavern. You just got to watch out. She can use that dagger. She'll get you. Have a good night, Hark. That's right. She ain't afraid. Actually, you know, now that I look at it, she does have that kind of woolly hair even. She does. The stars are truly aligning. Oh, I'm sorry. Advice on your last message? I was in the zone. I missed it. Sorry about that. Your biggest issue right now with my setting is I'm doing a younger world, have a lot of history of all my more fantastical races, based inspired by locations on my world map, but the poor humans are just sitting there blank. I'm trying to include variants of all core races, but humans are so blah. So what are you looking for then? Like, do you want to give them a unique gift? Do you want to, what do you hope to do with your humans, or what have you done with the others that you feel is lacking in humans? I guess I'm having trouble understanding the context of what you're seeking. Let's see. After Ome suffers a vital health scare, they need to go get a remedy from the fresh salt sea air in Salter's Port. Heading down, they notice more fiery fiends, as well as general concern in the countryside that Marshview is taking a very hostile stance, especially to humble folk, which are the deer, like they're the ground dwelling races in Humblewood. People living closer to it have been branded as bandits and told to leave the area, or next time it will mean their life. Many are being displaced. So in this, we kind of have a passage of time. We're probably talking weeks or months. There's not really a scale for the distance between these areas, so this might take a month. It could take a season. It's really up to us how long we want the distance to take here. The brand, again, resonates. 3. And he will get a visit or message from his patron asking for help, since the patron is being held hostage by Destro's father, which in its sense as a holy man, that would make sense, right? Like, as the holy man has captured the devil and is imprisoning it, except the fact that the holy man has captured the devil, like, within, and is confining the devil with his will and his assertion of dominance in the area here. And so if you're dropping this, I say this early, quote unquote, into the story, but if you're dropping this sometime during this tier, it can still mean a lot of different things. And even the player who's playing, why am I derping on his name? Who's playing Sir Reapador Van Winkle, can tell the Destro character, oh yeah, I've received a message from someone in my guild that your father's holding some sort of a fiery demon hostage. Oh yeah, well, he's a holy roller and all that. And then that leads to the big reveal. Dun dun dun. But of course, from here, exercise and slain in case the fiend patron appears for the last throwdown. And the last throwdown could be the end of the demon, or the subjugation of the demon, or the renegotiation, because by this point, Sir Reapador perhaps is starting to slip, and if he sees that this demon can be possessed itself once, and by someone like Draco's father, he certainly has the will to control this devil or this demon, or Yugoloth, to be fair. So 8 to 9, they get the cure and inspiration for O's condition, which has laid her low, not just physically, but mentally, as she realizes her fragility, despite her gifts, and the fact that people don't matter as much as friends and others close to you. And this is resolving one of the moral conundrums that we brought up for Ome. That the humblest humble folk herself can be humbled. And she realizes, especially, she's not on her deathbed per se, but she's, this is her final tour, so says her god or goddess. That people aren't going to be around for her in this moment of weakness. It was her friends. It was these scrappy youngins who aren't even necessarily religious who stepped up and helped her get this, to get this sedative or this cure so that she can push on and finish this final mission that she has. And this would be a good time for a sub-boss fight, too. So, here, they again encounter the lieutenant and Zevrik. Where the lieutenant sub-boss is ultimately betrayed by... I mean, betrayed as in, I'm the bad guy and I got betrayed. How dare you betray me? By Zevrik, who will assume command of the unit and rejoin. He spills the beans about Rena's push of Destro. And the party both hurts and heals. And pushes with a now we're gonna take an army of bandits into the Holy Roller City, and we're gonna have the final confrontation. The party members fight to the top of the canopy there in this great church building. Meanwhile, the bandits are sneaking around down below, infiltrating, suppressing, making openings on this sort of Death Star run. I'm loving this. He spills the beans about Rena's push of Destro, and the party both hurts and heals and pushes with a bandit army west to Marshview. So what I should also do then, if we're gonna weave little things, especially to show that perhaps Reapador is succumbing to the knowledge and the temptation to make this final decision about his patron during that confrontation, we have to the university. So there's that. So Ree discovers knowledge about devil name and true name magic and how it can bind devils to people and not the other way around. It also gives tips on how to do so to the lesser fiends, prompting him to try and control them in any skirmishes to come. Of course, then, in 7 to 8 on the journey south, they're going to have skirmishes, and our warlock is going to be like, come here, my pretty, or not, because we have someone who is teetering on that good and evil decision. Rena is going to have to get over the honesty, friendship, and settling differences, especially in the late game. Rena, look, you know, we've been together. We've done so much. I understand. It hurts. It hurt when I fell. But you know what? We're better than this. We're trying to be better people. And so Destro, in wanting to prove himself through not just his strength in combat, which he has done, but his resolve, the acceptance of his doubts, he does not doubt that Rena was the one who pushed, now that that's been made clear. He also doesn't doubt that she is his friend. And that together, they are better people for that interaction. And so they complement each other, and they raise each other up, while Ripador and Ome are the ones being laid low and coming to terms with this new style of existence. This story has so much going to it, and it's just an outline based on random number generation. Oh, whoa, whoa. And you can do this at home, too. You don't even need some weirdo on Twitch teaching you. Over 10 levels now. And you know, and I think I'm going to wrap stuff up here shortly. And so we'll leave 11 through 20 to your imagination. Because, of course, what happens? If Ome dies, after having put down this last evil, then we're going to have to introduce a new character. What happens if Ripador accepts, like, controls and accepts and becomes a host for this devil and steps up and fills the place of Destro's father, kind of removing himself from the party as an NPC or another villain, or rejects it? So at this breakpoint, this is an awesome breakpoint for the campaign. Then you can sit down, see if you have to introduce other characters, go through all the workshop stuff that we've just done this week, and come up with 11 through 20 to find out what happens to Humblewood in the wake of all this and where does this go. Let me catch up in chat since I was doing a lot of talking here. All right, so O'Sheeps was singing. Stars are aligning. Donnie says, I have put a spin on almost all races or put them in roles you wouldn't expect, and I'm kind of stuck on humans. Oh, you sent me an example on Discord? All right, so I'll take a look at that in just a little bit here then. Reaper work. Hello. Yes, I am in the zone. Well, I was. I'm now out of the zone, but that's fine. Because I feel very accomplished now. Question for the chat. Is it weird to tell my DM that I'm concerned that my PC is overpowered? Not at all. Share that concern. Say, I have a question about the mechanics. Do I have... And if you want to be, polite in referencing it, tell your DM or ask your DM, I have some questions on mechanics. I don't know if this makes sense or if I'm piloting it incorrectly, but when blah, 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 and blah, then blah, that seems overpowered if that's the case. Then prompt your dungeon master to think about it and give the dungeon master the opportunity to reply and say, you know what, that kind of is. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I'm sure we can work something out. Or, oh, please, it seems like it's overpowered. Don't worry, I've already accounted for it, so keep playing the character how you're playing it. So it's positive deference to your DM that sort of honors his or her position as a thoughtful storyteller, and then you get the answer you're looking for anyway. And it's a positive communication, and this is a game about communication. Sign of a good player. I agree, Donnie. Played the OG Unearthed Arcana Lore Mage. Actively nerfed myself over time. You already nerfed him? Yeah, how powerful. It's a fighter, dual wielder with 2 longswords. He outdamages the spell. Well, so... Master Mage, there is... I mean, dual-wielding longswords is a legitimate mechanic. You just have to understand that there are certain times that certain classes and certain combos all line up to be very powerful or very weak. You know, if you ever take a look and you say, "Oh man, rogues get 7d6 sneak attack," that's got and if it doubles on a crit, that's got to be a mistake. We got to tone this down. That's how it's meant to be. It is perfectly fine for that to happen. You don't need to worry about that. But, you know, your dungeon master might say, well, you know, I keep throwing a bunch of squishy targets, or I throw magic resistant targets, but they're taking swords like a champ. But maybe that means that things will shift over the course of the campaign, and so melee will become more difficult. Cobra, yeah, Clandestine Gamers. That was the name that was offered by Black Wolf in the community here. So, hey, I'll take community suggestions. I'm fine with that. Hey, Lasario, welcome. Welcome, welcome. So I think we have a cool story here, everyone. And look, it ties in all of our characters, the villain, the non-player character. It tells a story that's happening around them in the world, yet it remains around the core of the players as they are traveling through the world and encountering other people and enemies and such along the way. I'm on my round of never-ending story singing right now. Well, wait, is that this is the song that never ends, or are we talking the never-ending story? Ha, 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 ha. Gotcha. Hey. There we go. Sign of a quality Twitch streamer when at the drop of a mention can sing part of the Neverending Story song. There we go. While talking about thematic storytelling, narrative techniques, organic character development. There we go. I have a couple smarts that I'm spilling out of my I'm spilling out of my noggin here for you at the same time. I know, don't ask me to sing more, O'Shapes, but I still sang. I still sang that part to show that I am not frontin'. I'm gonna get up and take a stretch, like just whatever, 5 minutes. I'm not gonna get any salsa or whatever. I'm just gonna get up and stretch. Get up and move. Dun, dun, dun. How can I get away from starting a new campaign from the... You mean it? Oh, you're looking for hooks? All right, Clandestine Gamers, do you have like 5 minutes to let me get up and stretch? Cinco Momentos? All right. I will help you. I'll help you get some hooks when I come back. And of course, if anyone in chat wants to offer hook ideas, you're welcome to do so. This isn't... I'm the dude on camera, but this is our table talk to go for. So, all right, I'll BRB, everyone.